Phlox comes in a variety of types, many of which are native to North America and is found almost in every garden. What does creeping phlox look like when not in bloom? These easy-to-grow fragrant flowering plants are quite attractive whether they are in bloom or not. During the spring season, you will get to see the beauty of their flowers, as it is the time of year when they are in full bloom. Their shaded flowers come in an array of colors which include white, purple, blue, and pink. And when these plants are not in bloom, they are still quite an eye-catching garden beauty. Without flowers, they show off their needle-like bright green foliage, which is known to enhance the look of any landscape. Creeping phlox light requirements. Although creeping phlox plants can tolerate partially shaded light, to get exceptional blooms, full sun is recommended. Keep in mind that if these plants are grown in the right conditions, they will eventually become well established and able to grow healthily in the case of drought. However, to reach this stage, creeping phlox plant care and maintenance are vital. Seeing that the phlox plant does well in soil with efficient drainage properties, planting them on slopes will enhance the growing medium's capabilities. What to do with phlox after flowering? After flowering, it is essential to deadhead your phlox plant. The reason that this is recommended is that it will enhance the plant's appearance and neaten it up. Thereafter, in the coming autumn or winter seasons, it is best to cut your phlox plants down to ground level, which will accelerate spring growth. Although there are sterile phlox cultivar varieties that don't really require this type of pruning, you must know that deadheading them will result in a much more attractive array of flowers. During this time, you can also fertilize your phlox plants, and if you're lucky enough, you could be surprised with a second flush of dainty blooms. Creeping phlox bloom time. The creeping phlox covers the ground well and blooms in spring and the early part of summer. The tall phlox blooms in mid to late summer. Varieties of phlox that bloom all summer and spring. Creeping phlox. Creeping phlox is called so because it grows close to the ground, crawling and spreading. You can propagate it by transplanting portions to the areas where you wish to grow it. Tall phlox. This variety grows anywhere from 10 inches to 4 feet high. There are exceptions of tall phlox that do not bloom in summer. Astoria and Intentia phlox bloom beautifully into late fall and through winter in very cold climates. Astoria grows up to about 24 inches and Intentia reaches around 14 inches tall. When and where to plant phlox. Plant phlox immediately after you receive it to avoid damage to sensitive young plants. Planting in fall. Plant your phlox a few weeks before your first frost falls. But do not let the roots dry out before you plant. Planting in spring. If your phlox plant arrives in spring, keep it moist in the container until the ground is ready for planting. Growing conditions for phlox flower. Light. The garden phlox requires both full sun and a little shade, particularly in the south, to thrive. Soil. Though phlox is tolerant to most garden soils and it does well in well-drained soils. Waterlogged, damp spring soil can cause root rot in the plants, killing them. Use compost or peat moss added to the garden soil to improve drainage and create a better growing environment. Spacing. Tall phlox should be planted about 18 inches apart, while creeping phlox planted about 2 feet apart. If you plant them too close, they are attacked by mildew. Giving them enough room for air circulation is the key. Best phlox flower for summer blooms. If you want to plant phlox that blooms during summer, you will have to settle on the garden phlox. Garden phlox is the only one that blooms during summer. However, there is a disclaimer: not all garden phlox blooms at the same time in summer. They vary depending on the zone and climate they are growing under. It is possible to have the first bloom in early June or as late as late July. Go ahead and plant these darling flowers and make your home bright and beautiful like never before. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.